Wow, so I'm very excited about this interview, man. Let's get started. Let's get
Sure.
started, Faryar. Thank you for being here. We're very excited. Let's get started about explaining to the crowd here at WebCongress what is interactive immersive reality and some background about that.
Of course. Okay, so you can think of interactive immersive reality, or what we call IIR. It's a new immersive visual technology that we created specifically for mobiles. So think of the capabilities you would have with VR headsets, where you're fully immersed in a immersive environments, but that is on your mobile. So your mobile device will act as a window into a different form of reality, that you can basically move it around and see an immersive environment that you're in. IIR specifically is designated and designed for interactive immersive mobile commerce. The concept is that in mobile commerce nowadays you can go and just go on websites and see things and buy, but with IIR you can be immersed and see an object, as you saw in the video, from various different angles, appreciate the texture of the material of whatever you're buying looks like, and then conduct a purchase. To that end, we created some peripheral technologies for IIR that the merchants use, and I'm going to basically go through some of these. One of them is that we have this artificial intelligence hand gesture recognition technology that you saw. So basically, end users are able to manipulate the objects or reach inside that world with their hands in front of a mobile camera and interact with the objects, which gives them a more sense of immersiveness into those environments. For the clients who own these stores and basically have their merchandise kind of put on sale, we have some infrastructure that we created. One of them is their ability to remotely modify these environments, scenes, objects, looks, basically modify the design of those things through a very simple to use web portal, which is real time. The other one is their ability to be able to conduct sales, but using their own existing payment rail. We call this handoff technology. So the concept is that by this day and age, every merchant out there has an existing e-commerce payment rail, which they use for their website. So what we do is that we have a technology that connects these immersive environments to an existing payment rails that run the websites, if you will. We call it handoff. So they can use the existing technologies they use to receive payments from customers. And another one that's important to note is we have some analytics layers for them. For example, we track virtual foot traffic data in these environments. So let's say if you have a store, we supply you with ample amount of information with respect to how users walk around your space, what they pay attention to, where they are, what they look for, how long, and these are very valuable data for them to redesign these spaces.
That's amazing, man. Okay, can you talk a bit more about the AI, the artificial intelligence that detects the hands gestures?
Sure.
And what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the concept is through the lens of your mobile, through the screen, when you are immersed into a world, there are many different virtual objects around you that you may want to interact with. Now, the option is that you can rotate them, move them around on screen, right? As you saw, you can pan and zoom and change angles. But it would be easier if we want to give you the sense of full immersion, is to allow you to basically reach into that different world, if you will, different dimension, and just command those objects. But for that to happen, we needed to create a very sophisticated AI engine that basically understands bare hand gestures in front of a general purpose camera. And this way you can kind of reach inside and command the objects, or you can pick something up or remotely, command something to happen within those environments.
Wow. Yeah. And was it hard to develop this technology?
It definitely wasn't easy. Partly from a technical perspective, the reason is that on mobile devices you have limited computational resources. And AIs, generally, depending on what kind of AI engine, is that they're very power hungry. But to make it even more complicated, rendering high definition graphics are also very resource intensive. So then trying to have these two sit side by side, be able to render high definition graphic, and then at the same time have a very sophisticated AI engine to be able to understand that it wasn't an easy thing to accomplish. So that's one of the unique aspects of IIR, that I think we're the first ones in the market to be able to put these two side by side on a mobile device and let them run somewhat seamlessly.
Okay. So I understand you developed the IIR. Is it the right way to say it?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is mostly for mobile commerce. Is
Sure.
it because you think all commerce will be mobile in the future? Is it the future of commerce?
Well, we definitely see a trend where immersive commerce will be the way of the future. Now, whether or not it's all on mobile, time will tell, but we're betting that would be the case because more and more of e-commerce these days are being shifted to mobile, right? A lot of things that you would do on a desktop, now you can basically do on mobile. A lot of things that you would buy online, you could do on mobile. So based on that trajectory, nothing then it would prevent you from doing the same thing in an immersive environment. Everybody has the experience of shopping for things online and then receiving something that doesn't really look and feel as you saw in a simple 2D image, right? It's one of the biggest hurdles of online commerce these days. And what we believe is that with any sort of immersive media, where customers can basically see a fabric, see a piece of leather or anything that gives you better understanding of look and feel in a form of immersive media, will help and propel those type of sales.
Does this mean that in the future people are going to stay in their houses? They won't leave their houses to go to stores, and they'll do everything, and they'll buy everything online?
That may be a little bit far off, but I want to predict that that future is somewhat inevitable, okay? From where we stand right now, it might be somewhat far-fetched, but let me just take you back a little bit in time. Let's just, see something that maybe most of the audience would remember, and then you can see some of these projections are not far from imagination. Not so many years ago, if you wanted to watch a movie, you would leave your house, you would drive to a store,
Yeah.
you would then go inside a store, you would then select a movie that was on tape or DVD, you would then check out, drive all the way back home, watch it, drive back to the store,
Bring it
return
back.
it, and then come back home. Okay, all of that right now is a push of a button, right? Makes sense? So what that tells you is that new technologies provide a level of efficiency into human mobility, right? And if people do have the choice and the luxury of not leaving their house, sit in traffic and go somewhere to look at something, then that level of efficiency allows them to do, to purchase things from the comfort of the couch, right? So we think that will happen, yes. But when? Hopefully soon.
Not too soon. So let's keep talking. That's very interesting. I want to know what is your opinion about AR glasses. Things happen in the past already. So we hear that AR glasses will be coming, and I just want to know how they relate to what you do, and what do you think about this coming trend?
All right, so that's a two-part question. I'm going to take it in parts. So first, let's talk about
the
AR glasses, and then I will address how we think of how we fit into that picture.
Okay.
So yes, I agree with you. It's something that we believe will come, and we're very excited about it. AR glasses are in particular very important because think of them as a form of a new computational form factor. They are as important and impactful as smartphones coming to market, okay? And the reason is that internet nowadays is all around us, okay? Connected devices, cell phones, everything, right? It impacts our life immensely. However, from a visual perspective, our access to the internet is only through screens.
Yes.
Like your mobile phone or a screen of a computer. That is our visual relationship to the internet nowadays. However, with AR glasses, what happens is that we will be adding a complete new visual layer to our existing dimensions. So internet will take a different life because now internet becomes more visual in front of you, and your access to data is much more than and more frequent than you just from time to time on demand reaching your pocket and looking at your mobile device or sitting in front of a screen.
Wow.
So for that reason, we think that's going to be a tectonic shift in technology when AR glasses are in the market. It's, if not important as, mobile devices, it's going to be a very, very impactful kind of occurrence. How do we fit into that picture? Well, we created IIR with the goal of intersecting that future. The concept being is, when you have these AR glasses, the way they would function more or less is that those glasses will have some sort of reflective lens that allow you to see these basically additional layers in front of you, hence the term augmented reality. Then you need some power source and some general purpose camera. So then that would feed into some sort of AI engine. So our hand gesture recognition technology could be conceivably run for AI glasses. And the graphic engine that we also have is adapted for that purpose. So we're actually very excited about it. And we look forward to the day when they're on the market so we can actually make IIR an impactful part of that trend.
That's very interesting. So, especially thinking about all the, different glasses that have been tried in the past. I'm wondering how do you think the AR glasses will look like, right? And hopefully look good. And who is going to develop the first good ones?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good question. So, so at this point in time, what we can sense, or the information we can gather, is that there are several companies with capabilities to go after this. It's not going to be an easy task. But, for example, Googles of the world, Facebooks, Amazons, Apple, Samsung, these
Google,
companies,
Facebook, Amazon,
Samsung, these are just some example. Apple, of course. These have the wherewithal and the resources to basically take on this, new endeavor. However, my personal belief is that specifically Apple and Google and Samsung stand in a very unique spot to be able to basically tackle. The reason is that at least two of these three own operating systems, which is most of mobile's operating system. And if you think about it, AR glasses will come into two different flavors. Nowadays, you have things like HoloLens from Microsoft that comes with a lot of embedded hardware, which it's for specific uses, it's perfectly fine, but for an everyday thing, for it's it's somewhat bulky. Okay. So then, what you would have from AR glasses of the future, you want something to be convenient and lightweight. So if, let's say, Apple would take on this challenge, and then what you're left off to have is lightweight glasses, a pair of reflective lenses, a general purpose camera, some peripheral circuitry for communication, and a power source. And then you would tether that AR glasses to the mobile device, and then that's what you have, AR glasses.
That's impressive. I want to see this future now. Can you give us some exciting use cases about your product? I want to understand exactly how we can use it.
Sure. So in its current incarnation, which is adapted to be on screen on mobile devices, we use it to simulate any sort of physical environments that you could use to conduct sales or marketing. For example, we can use IIR to simulate a car showroom, as you saw. So you can immersively see a car and go inside, see various features, change the rims, change the colors, customize it, look at it from all angles, and it's as good as seeing something in a dealership. Sometimes better, because if you're in a dealership, they cannot show you live all sort of variations and colors and options of a car, right? So that's one example. There are some use cases that we are very excited about. One of them is actually in the field of real estate. So believe it or not, it's a trend that has been going on for some years, that all around the world there are these high-rise residential real estates that they start pre-selling these units before the buildings are completed. Okay? So how the sales is done nowadays is that they show you some renderings and some pictures, and that's all you have to be able to make a very big purchase decision to buy a house, let's say, in downtown of San Francisco or in New York, for example. With IIR, we can have a photorealistic simulation of that floor, that apartment, and we can show you exactly, accurately, the view from each window of your apartment. So what you see immersively is exactly what you will get when you actually go inside your future home.
Wow.
So these are just a couple of examples. But then we can serve customers in sportswear, so apparel, shoes, things like that, fine jewelry. So think of any physical merchandise that's being sold online right now could also have, could be sold immersively using IIR. Yeah.
Okay, so how these use cases you're mentioning will be applied when AR glasses enter the market? How is it going to
Yeah, good question.
work together?
Obviously, we're thinking of that future and we kind of stepping toward it, but we need to kind of serve the market currently based on what's available. The way we think of it is that we let your mobile device at this time to be a window into a different world, immersively. So you're fully immersed into an environment, and then that's how sales is done. However, what will happen in AR glasses, we then take your existing space and decorate things around you.
Okay.
Make sense?
Wow.
So instead of you seeing a different world through your mobile device, you would just have
Everything
things.
I look
You know, your bedrooms become a showroom for some merchant that decides to sell you sports shoes and things like that.
Wow, that's very interesting. We're going to have to talk more about this in
Sure.
a minute. Okay, so what do you think the economic impact of such a thing will be? I mean, will this change some industries, disrupt things in some ways?
It is definitely going to be disruptive, and economically, it will have a lot of impact. Because as I mentioned, we think of this, AR glasses, as a new computational platform, as a new computational form factor. And what you've seen, specifically with smartphone, when they came about, introduction of new computational form factor bring about or give birth to new markets that were not even possible before. For example, Uber, right?
Yeah.
A company of that size and mobility, it's possible through smartphone. Without that, or back in the day, it would not have been possible, right? So what ends up happening is that when you have these new form factors, new markets just come about. And the way it happens is that you have entrepreneurs who basically see some deficiencies in terms of efficiencies of life, and then they have these new form factors, and then they connect the dots, and they try to make your life somewhat efficient by you leveraging that new form factor, and then that give birth to new markets. So we think that's going to be that will be very impactful. And just let me give you like some example. It will affect many things around us, right? So if basically we're capable of simulating a different world for you in your own dimension, right, with AR glasses, here's one interesting example. You can wear AR glasses and look at a wall in front of you, and then you could see a TV simulated with the content running inside. Okay, what would that tell you? That means that probably you don't need to buy TV sets for every room, or maybe even at all in the future, because TV now is a part of a program. You see a physical device become digitized through AR glasses for you to see anywhere. That is just a flat wall in front of you.
And when do you think, that's amazing, when do you think this future, we're going to see this future,
When will we see this
Yeah.
future? Well, if I had to make a prediction,
When
I
are
would
we
say
going to be living in a world like this, like you mentioned?
some form of AR glasses. I mean, there are versions of AR glasses in the market right now, but they're not powerful enough, or they don't have enough of a graphics quality to be kind of commonplace in the market. But the type of AR glasses that I'm referring to in our conversation, I believe sometime by the end of 2020, one of the big players that I mentioned.
End of 2020?
By end, yes.
That's right, that's
Not
close.
far. The first generation of these will enter the market, and then just like smartphone, every year after that there will be a huge update, and within 3 to 4 years from when they're first introduced, they will actually have a very immense economical impact. And their growth will be basically as much as the growth within the first 4 years of a smartphone in the market. Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to know, what is your opinion No, I think you're an expert in the topic, and I want to know what is your opinion on the VR market.
Sure.
I feel like it's growing slowly, and I'm wondering what do you think is going to happen with this?
Well, so about its slow growth. Yes, it has. There are a few factors why VR, to some people, seems to be some sort of a disappointment. One of the reasons was that it was introduced early on when the technology was not very well developed. There was not much of a developer community around it. The actual form factor was expensive.
Yeah.
But all of that was part of a development cycle, if you will. This has been the case historically with some basically groundbreaking technologies where the first generations that come to market are not advanced enough for mass adoption.
Yeah.
But that does not basically seal the fate of those devices, because that itself is part of development of those things, right? So it's
part one.
Yeah, so it's current basically impact and how it's adopted in the market is not predictive of its future potential. I'm very actually hopeful and optimistic about VR. And I think VR, and that's some sort of full immersion.
Yeah.
It's going to be alongside of some sort of a AR or mixed reality lenses, and they will have grown market in parallel for years to come. Because especially there are things in VR that you cannot have even with most sophisticated AR glasses, such as gaming. Some gamings you just want the feeling of full immersion and just be able to kind of experience it that way. And it's happening. Like nowadays you have Facebook released not so long ago Oculus Quest, very affordable price, higher quality, and it will be there.
And how do you think those VR glasses or mixed reality glasses will impact or affect the smartphone market?
After many years, it is conceivable that all you need is your AR glasses, right? Because the information that you access through your mobile phone right now, it's being just presented to you on a small screen. All of that could be in front of your eyes on demand. So as time goes on, your need to reach into your pocket and look at a small screen will be less and less. However, that's not going to be immediate because of an interesting phenomenon, which is consumer habits. Introduction of new technology is one thing, but trying to attack existing consumer habit is another, right?
Okay.
So even if AR glasses come to market that are as good as your phones, people still out of habit, they will still continue using them in parallel until future.
Interesting, yeah. It always takes some time to adapt to amazing
Of
new
course.
technology, right? Okay, so I noticed that on the graphics on your video, there were very high resolution
Yes.
graphics. It's kind of impressive. Is that something you guys focus on a lot? And right now I want to talk more about those videos and what I've seen around, and maybe
Sure.
we'll get some more minutes to have a conversation. But tell me about those graphics in the
Of course,
video.
yes. So as I said, because we started working on IIR with the goal of commercializing it for the purpose of sales. We realized that, you need actual photorealistic representation of real-life objects.
Yeah.
Okay? So for that reason, we need to kind of walk toward what you know as photorealism, which is not easy, but it's something that we've kind of achieved. And it's somewhat challenging because when you want to simulate things, you have to think about many different things. If you're selling leather shoes, the texture, the fabric, how it reflects light is completely different than if you're selling fine jewelry or if you're trying to simulate reflection of a diamond ring. So it's been challenging, but it's something that we've developed, and we have the capability to address many different verticals for sale of real life kind of articles that you can buy at a store.
Wow, it's very interesting. And thank you for being here for real. We're very happy to have you here. We have a couple of seconds maybe. I just wanted to know, I have one thing that's come in mind is what you're doing here is very new, even very secret, right? And we're very grateful that you're here sharing with us all this information. How do you guys work? I'm wondering, at the office, the daily life? Do you guys go easily on the market and already show a bunch of things you're probably working on, or you go slowly? Are you guys working with interesting maybe brands trying things? What are you guys
Sure.
doing?
Yeah, so for the first couple of years, we just spent a lot of time developing this technology because, as you saw, there are many different aspects to it. And for it to be something that you can share with merchants and for them to be excited about it and have use for this, we need to have like a spectrum of technologies that run side by side, all the way from a massive infrastructure that provides a global access to this, to analytics layers that we can kind of offer to merchants, to photorealistic kind of texture for things that they sell. All of that needs to kind of come as a package. So it took us some time to develop this technology and put all these puzzle pieces side by side. Our go-to-market strategy has been that trying to get connected with massive brands, because massive brands inherently also have a lot of marketing power.
Okay.
So once they adopt your technology, then they will also help you somewhat
Have a
market
team
it,
to work with you on that.
help you market it, and that propels the technology much easier and much faster. It will start slowly, but I mean, I can't mention brands, but we're kind of in talks with some very renowned, world-known brands, and hopefully once they release some sort of an immersive experience using our technology, and then the world starts learning about it, and it will get adopted slowly.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Un aplauso, por favor, fuerte para Faryar. Thank you so much, Faryar. I'm very excited to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.